My name is Jake Ball. I'm a manager of engineering development at BlueScope Buildings North America. I've worked at BlueScope for about 14 years. I started there as a production engineer, a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Missouri. So I spent about 8 years as a production designer in a couple different groups, worked as an estimator for a little while, and then I've been in my current role for about 2.5 years, managing our development and training plans and also managing a couple of other strategic teams within the business. Yeah, we've noticed that over time, as systems become more and more automated, that we're kind of lacking a little bit of the background technical skills that users need to develop. And we didn't have a good way to issue that training. So we had an in-house LMS that we've been using, and we tested it out a little bit, and it wasn't accomplishing what we wanted. So we started looking for other options. What we found when we got into complicated construction projects, we were running into some possible quality issues. So we looked at improving our training, technical training. So the issue with that is, a lot of it wasn't necessarily developed already. So we had to develop the content, and then we needed a reliable way to deploy it and track its use. So, Pinnacle series offered a lot of those solutions for us. Outside of, we still had to author the content ourselves. So we've been using it to deploy monthly quality learning, stuff like that, to try to improve our production quality. Well, like I said, we did already have an in-house LMS. It was another platform that we'd already invested a little bit in. We were using it for corporate compliance training. So we looked at trying to use it, and it wasn't quite meeting our needs. So, that's when we started looking for other options. So outside of Pinnacle series and then the solution that we are currently using, we didn't look at any other options other than those two. So we went through a pretty significant vetting process. I met with them the first time in November 2018. Went back to the office after meeting with them, looked into what our current solutions were, compared what I thought they had to offer to what we had currently, vetted it with management to see if it was the right idea, if it was worth the investment, then vetted it to senior management after getting approval from local management. And then, went through some demo phases with other users, looked at like long-term applications and all that stuff. Finally decided that it was the right way we wanted to go, but we wanted to do some final vetting. So we got asked for some customer references from Eagle Point. They provided 4 customer references to us. I was able to get in touch with 2 of them. They all had very positive things to say, so that was kind of the final decider. And then, after that, we signed the contract and started the implementation. I think we'd still be struggling to successfully implement training. Before we're just kind of relying a lot on like doing live web meetings, stuff like that. And then sometimes they'd be recorded, sometimes not. So you have people who missed them because they just happened to be out of the office or on vacation. And then there wasn't necessarily a great way to track it or make sure that people were attending it if they needed the training. So we'd just still be in the same position we were in before. Like I said, we really seem to be having some issues getting reliable and consistent training across locations. So this has helped us be able to do that. We can make the training available on demand. It's easy to search for and find. People know where to go to get to it. So, all those things have been very positive improvements. Well, as always, there's always a cost risk. The way I looked at it was it would cost me more. It cost me a lot more to hire people to be able to do what Pinnacle does than it cost us to start using it. And then there's always the risk too of just user adoption. Everybody wants training. Everybody wants new and better things until they get them, and then all of a sudden, now it's extra work to do, or it's not the training they wanted, or it's a change. Everybody wants change until they have change, and then it's different than what they had before. So I always steal a quote from George Orwell, who said, progress is not an illusion, but it is slow and invariably disappointing. So you just kind of have to have realistic expectations of what that implementation looks like, and the idea that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be slow user adoption. Like I said, we've tracked adoption over time, and my goal was just to see it continue to climb, not necessarily hit 100% right out the gate, because I knew that wasn't reasonable. So those are just all things you have to be aware of that are risks, and like I said, have reasonable expectations around it. It went well. Eagle Point had great support. That was one of the things they sold us on with picking them up. Our customer success team has been great to work with. They've always been available to do onboarding and tutorial for new users. So that made it a lot easier. They had internal marketing material made already. So all we had to do was just email it or print it out and distribute it. They had pre-made emails. All that stuff just saved us a ton of time. They had a communication plan, change management, all that stuff that large organizations can sometimes struggle with. They really helped us support those initiatives. Well, like I said, we've seen improved tracking and compliance of some of our training. We really know now who it's reaching, and it's easy to pull up and see who's done what. We've centralized a lot of things. We used to have a pretty loose onboarding program. We kind of had a 2 or 3 week in-person training that we would do, and that of course required people to fly or travel to a single location. And then you've got their travel costs plus lodging. Plus, the emotional impact on employees, having to travel, be away from families, possibly, stuff like that. We've all mostly gone to online for that, and it's been more centralized. We've extended it out now to a full 8-week onboarding program for new people. It's a lot more consistent across locations. Everybody gets the same experience. It really helps with new managers that come on board, who might not have experience training new people. Now we've got a lot of that framework in place for them, and it supports not only the new employees, but new managers who come in, might just be moving out of a production job into a management role. The engineering function, which is where I oversee, we've got around 400 people. And so like I said, over the first few months, pretty low user usage. We said it was a new system. People didn't know what to think of it. We're up to around 250 probably, or 300 a month now, so much higher. Like I said, I like to see it just track up month over month. So part of that's just people becoming more used to it. We've got more content available now. We've learned how the system works better. There's always a bit of a learning curve when you adopt a new system or new software. So that's all been positive. Like I said, the obvious was some of it was driven by COVID, but the savings on travel and lodging for having people have to come to one single location to do live training has been great. But all that stuff has been, it's been very positive. And like I said, probably the biggest ROI is just the savings on the travel when we have to do live training. Well, one thing that they was very helpful that Eagle Point did was opened up a library that would normally be a subscription library to everybody for the month of April. That had a lot of useful training for people who are moving to work from home for the first time. There are a lot of complexities that people don't plan for when they go to work from home that you might just have to think of around, setting a daily work schedule, sticking to your schedule, still maintaining your personal time. You'll hear a lot of people who start working from home say that they don't have a hard shut off now, so they wind up working later. Sometimes that's not good for your mental health. So they had some courses that we made available to everybody that had good kind of common sense advice on transitioning to work from home. So that was very helpful to be able to just give to everybody right when we were all going through that. No, I mean, just like I said, Eagle Point's been great to work with. Their support is really good. Any software is going to have bugs occasionally, and anytime we have something come up, we're able to get in touch with their software support directly. They usually resolve the issue almost immediately. Their customer success management team is great. I meet with our customer success manager once a week, and we look at our metrics and data, and that just really helps us make sure that we're using the platform correctly, and that we continue to grow its use within the organization, and they support that growth. And like I said, they've been very helpful and available to do onboarding training, introduce people to the platform and things like that. So that's been one of the biggest benefits to me.